Hello, everybody. My mod's making me laugh right before the stream. Hello, and welcome to my stream. My name is Kismet. You might notice it says it right down there. Welcome to my stream. We're going to have some fun today, everybody. So excited for today. Coming out, the Astroneer automation update coming through. I was just watching their previous stream about it and all the things that you can connect and all the different new things we're going to get and all the things that will sort stuff and do all sorts of really cool stuff. So we're going to get into that, except for the update's not out yet. I was so excited. I actually woke up like a normal person today. I was up at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I was working on all sorts of stuff and dealing with my kids and taking care of my IRL. Thus, I had to shift my stream around. Sorry for those who were like, what the heck are you streaming at 4 o'clock in the afternoon for? Well, I was doing that for a while, and then I had to shift it forward again, because again, IRL stuff, and then now I've got to shift it back, and then I'm going to be shifting it again next week. So, that's sorry, everybody. That's just what I have to do, right? Always got to take care of that IRL first, because if you don't take care of that, everything else it's just like domino effect, right? You don't take care of the IRL, then everything else just falls down. So when people say, Kismet, I got to take care of my IRL, I got no problem with that at all. I know how that goes. So take care of that IRL first, everybody. And then once we get that going, then we can play some games together. How about that? So we're going to start with some Satisfactory today. We did do some power. Redid a lot of our power already, so that was a lot of fun. And I'll show that off, what we did. I think we did that like on a Friday or something like that, or Saturday, or if I forget. What day did we do that? Oh, wait, we did on Thursday of last week. That's right, we did on Thursday. Hold on, everybody. Triggered. I can't even watch people who have YouTube videos, and this is just one of those things in my life. I can't, you know what I mean? Just those like trigger points. When I even watch videos when people's things are like twisted, it just drives me crazy. Sorry, that's one of my meticulous things, right? My little real life tick right there. I can't handle it when they're all twisted together. So there we go. Yeah, I was so tired yesterday. I did want to do a really long mega stream yesterday for my birthday and 5th year anniversary and 3-year partner anniversary. I just couldn't do it, everybody. I tried. I went as long as I could, and then I was like, you know what? I got to lay down. Still 5 years later, still gotta, give in to the vertigo. Still have to give in to the sleep apnea when I have to. And that's why I love to do this, is because if I do get tired, if I do get at that point, I know you guys understand, the people who have been in my stream for a while, they're like, we got you back, Kismet, go rest, man, feel better, come back today, nice, well rested, and we can play some games. And hey, that's what I love about my community, that they got my back, very much. And speaking of people who got my back and who were making me laugh just a second ago, my awesome mods who are coming in to back me up today, even though I just like sprung it on them and said, hey, guess what? I'm shifting all my times around. They're like, ah! But you know what? You got to do what you got to do, and we'll just make do and do the best we can, right? That's the best we can do in life. So big thanks to everybody coming in. We got Rathwell helping out, Game Killer, Dovey. I see Nushki in here as well, helping out. So make sure to show them some love in the chat, everybody. They are the heroes behind the streams, all my awesome mods who always help out as well. So make sure to follow those chat rules. Make sure to go and retweet. I'll put the retweet again right there in the chat. You can go ahead and click on that second link that you're going to see there in the chat. You click on the second link, you go up to Twitter, you hit that like button, you hit that retweet button. Does help a lot. Plus, it earns you guys some Kiz Caps. Now, all the stuff that I wasn't able to give away during my little birthday celebration, I'm going to push that till Friday and Saturday, where I'll be giving away more 7 Days to Die and more loot and more cool stuff here on the stream as well. Now, if you're like, hey, Kismet, I didn't get my thing. Well, that's because I haven't sent it out to you yet. If you did win something yesterday, know that I only have so many minutes in the day. So usually it takes me 2 or 3 days or so to get all that together and then send it out. And I check everybody's name off of where I send it to who and what time and all of that. You got to track that stuff really good. I am a very meticulous tracker of all of that stuff. So I will be sending that out to you within the next few days. So we got the awesome Astroneer Automator update coming through. We're going to wipe the server. We're going to put the new update on there. I'm going to update my Astroneer. We're going to log in, see if it all works and all of that. But again, we're going to play some Satisfactory first while we're waiting. And then we're going to come back to Astroneer when it's ready to rock and roll. Now let me say hello to everybody in the chat. My awesome piece backing me up today. I see E-Wolf in there. And I'm just going to make it easy on my mods today, and I'm just going to give everybody 1,000 caps. There we go. Everybody 1,000 caps in the chat to get us started here. Thanks, E-Wolf, for coming in. Blair and Fire coming in, getting that hype going on along with E-Wolf. Thank you so much. Dragon Overlord coming in and said, hey, Kismet. Hi, everyone. Hello. Dragon Overlord, thanks for being here. Nushi coming in as well as a specimen. Hope you had sweet dreams, Kismet. I actually slept pretty good, which I feel like finally, after a lot of years, I still have to, it's never going to go away. The vertigo will never go away, or really the middle channel ear imbalance, which is what it is, and it has this big, long medical name. Blah, 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 blah. My doctor always says it every time I go to see him and, do a checkup or whatever. He's like, it's blah, 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 blah. I don't know what the name of it is. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to remember all the long names, and I wrote it down on my little thing if I really wanted to tell people what it was. But basically, vertigo or dizziness, I think you understand. I feel like that kind of is a catch-all for that. So yeah, sometimes I suffer from that. I also suffer from inability to sleep well. My doctor says sleep when you can. That's basically my neurologist says that. He says, well, don't lay into bed if you can't sleep. Get up and do something else. And then, when you feel like you're tired, then go and sleep. And my kids, who probably have never known me as a person who has normally slept. My whole entire life, I slept like a normal person. I would go to sleep 10, 11 o'clock at night, get up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, get ready, go to work, do all the standard stuff, that everybody does. I would love to get back to that one day, is to be able to sleep like a normal person. I feel like a lot of people take that for granted. Same thing like walking up and down stairs. Like to most people, they never think about it. But me going up and down stairs is like a whole event, right? If I fall once, I'm dead. So every time I go up and down stairs, I hold the handrail every single time. I always have my hand on the handrail, or I am really, like if I'm carrying something, I'm really concentrating. Okay, step, step, step. See, when I'm going up and down the stairs. Again, that's like seeing life from a whole different perspective. And I'm sure there's many, many people in the world who have problems, the same kind of problems, just stepping or walking. They might have a weak knee or a bad hip or other medical conditions that make it difficult for them to get around. So I have a bit of that perspective now in my life, and I never thought about that stuff before, ever. I never thought about going up and down stairs. I'd run up and down the stairs. Like it was no big deal. When as a kid, because, in my day in the 70s and 80s, there was no parental supervision. You just went and did crazy stuff. We climb into the manholes that were in the middle of the street. We'd open that up. We'd climb down in there. We'd go down the sewer drains. We'd jump from rooftop to rooftop across people's houses, right? People we didn't even know. Yeah, crazy stuff like that. Yeah, driving backwards at 80 miles an hour just to see if my electronic thing would work. And then I did a bootlegger, turned all the way around the other way. Yeah, I didn't mean to do the bootlegger. I just got panicked and pressed the thing and stopped. And I was telling my kids that story the other day. They're like, why were you driving so fast backwards? And I go, just to see how fast I could go backwards. The dumb stuff you do when you're young, right? And then, of course, many trips to the river and partying at the river where that's not appropriate for my stream. Those are stories I can't tell you on stream, but, one day hit me up at TwitchCon. We'll talk about some stuff. We'll talk about some partying at the river with all the ladies. What can I say? That was before I met my wife. Became a lot more tame, I guess, than I am today. But there we go. E-Wolf coming in. More hype going on. There we go. I tripped trying to get into a vehicle, so there's that. Yeah, some of us are just naturally a little clumsy, and I'm that way anyway. And then, of course, add the vertigo on top of that, and it's like 10 times worse. But yeah, see, and that's the thing. My whole schedule is getting later and later. I'd like sleep till like 8 o'clock, and then 8:20, and then my alarm would go off, and I'd be like, oh, I got to get ready for the stream. I was getting too late, so I had to reset my schedule back because I got to help with the kids and all of that stuff. Yeah, my kids are going to be going back to school soon, so I've got to get them back into the cycle of getting up in the morning and getting ready and getting nighttime and all of that. So there we go. So again, I will be shifting my time again. So I feel like we should just get right into it. Let's go. Holy mackerel, that's loud. I don't know what it is about Fallout versus every other game, but whenever I'm playing like Fallout, Even Fallout 4 or any other Fallout, I don't know, the volume is always so low, and then every other game is like, bah! 5 times as loud. So, we're going to do some Stream Raiders right here in about 30 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer this time, so don't forget. Hey, Siri, set a timer for 30 minutes. Hey, Siri, set a timer for 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes and counting.
I'm very surprised how much I use Siri nowadays. I use her a lot. I make her do calculations. I make her remember stuff for me and whatnot. Very useful, actually. Probably the best feature of it is the timer. This is literally like a $1,200 timer on my phone. It's like a $1,200, $5 egg timer. Pretty much, right? That I got to pay on for the next how many ever years it is to pay that phone off. But sometimes you just got to YOLO, right? You got to YOLO. It's like every time I go to TwitchCon, YOLO. Hope I can pay this off one day. Still working on it. One day we'll get it paid off. That'd be awesome. And also, by the way, it was funny. I was talking to Wrath of Wall about this earlier, but I did see a really fantastic video on if you are a small business, if you work for a small business and you're struggling during the COVID time, that you can apply for government aid during this time. So if your business has been impacted and whatnot, and you need some funds, they have like a 30-year loan that is like 3.75%. If you are struggling as a business, or if you work for somebody who's struggling to pay their bills or whatnot, you can go and look up the SBA. And let me go ahead and get that link in the chat. And that's something that was funny. Apparently it was a joke tweet. But you know what? I just watched it. I'm always the guy that tries to help, right? I think to myself, I could be the one that made the difference, right? The one that made the difference. If I took the extra time to say, hey, everybody, look, there's this option that you could, use to, save your business. And, I've owned a lot of businesses. I've worked for a lot of businesses, some of the top businesses in the world. And there it is right there, everybody. It is the COVID-19 relief.sba.gov. That is their official site. If you do know of someone who is struggling in your neighborhood or somewhere around your area, please pass the word on to them. It may be not the right thing for them. Maybe they don't want to take out a loan or whatnot. But they can look it up and they can get some additional relief. Also, there is a thing where they can actually get $1,000 without getting a loan from the government from that. So I strongly suggest it. To anybody who does have a small business, including streamers. And by the way, if you're impacted in some way, you can also do that. Now, you can also look that up on YouTube. There is many different videos on it. I saw it through another streamer who also had a link to the original financial manager who mentioned about it. So, hey, I like to spread the word, hook you guys up. So there you go. So hopefully that will help out somebody. And even if it just helps out one person, well, hey, you know what? That's one more thing, one more little moment of joy I've sent out in the universe, hopefully. All right, so we got our coffee cup here. Tasty coffee. And what do we got going on, everybody? Well, as you can see, our power's working because all of our stuff is running and whatnot. So let's go take a look at our power. I can't remember which one of these goes up to the top. I think it's this one. I think this one goes up. So we're going to ride all the way up to the top here. And you can see that if you haven't seen my factory in a while, there is no factory. I took it all down. We've been building kind of just square boxes and kind of making our square buildings and building stuff. And as you can see, I've readjusted this road too. It's just a straight road now instead of coming up from the side like before. And we've run our hyper tube up here, and you can see so much stuff still to tap into, so many more kind of mini areas to build. Now, we took down all of the structure from before because I tried to do it where I brought all the stuff into the central. I'm not really a fan of that. I would prefer to build stuff at the source and then send the actual finished material down the line. Less lines I have to run and so on. Now, over here, as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of water running, and we have a whole bunch of coal coming down the road. Now, this coal is actually coming from all the way to the other side, right? All the way at the other side of the thing here. Let me get over here. Hopefully, I don't fall off to my dupe. all the way from way over here, right over here. Now, we used to have all of our power and all of our water and everything over here. So what I did is I moved it up here. Apparently, this is called the crater up here at the top. And apparently, they're going to change the crater and whatnot. But right now, they haven't changed it, so we're good for now. But I've moved all the coal running up here. Instead of running the water down to everything else, I'm running the coal up, which is way easier. One line is all it takes. I've combined all of the line into a really fast conveyor here. And you can see it's actually feeding it. And it's actually probably backlogged at this point because it is using, it's totally backlogged. It's using less coal than it needs. But the great thing is I've also sped up all of the conveyors to such a stage where if it starts using a lot more power, because our power is going to start ramping up as we add more and more items, it then starts using more and more coal to keep that power going. It's already pre-ready to go. Now, we're also using the industrial strength water buffers here that hold 2,400 water. So that's buffering all the water here. Now, we actually have 3 sets of 6 power, right, of 6 coal power. This is one set over here. We've got our second set over here. Notice we've got a water thing for each of them. And then our third set way over here on this side. And, of course, to go with each one of these is 3 water each. And then we've run the water. We've got a pump on the low end, as you can see right here. We can go ahead and check what its lift value is. You don't want it to hit above 20. This one's pretty close, 18.8, but it's still getting that 300 flow rate. Another thing that I've done here on the waters is I've underclocked the waters. Instead of overclocking them, I've underclocked them. Oh, well, I thought I did. I apparently didn't do it on the last one. This one I did. Yeah, on 84%. So I've underclocked it so it's not producing more water than it needs to, because it will actually produce too much water to go into 300, because it only max out a pipe at 300. So what we want to do is basically underclock these. Well, we turn this down. Now, we can also just change the number, by the way, right here, as pointed out by someone last stream. We just change the number right there, or I like doing the slider. I don't know why. It's just my thing. So I'll go ahead and just underclock this. And you're like, well, Kismet, why would you do that? Why would you turn that down? Why would you turn it down versus just leaving it? Well, when you turn it down, it takes less power. And when it takes less power, that's less work for you. That means you have more power for other things, right? Right now, this is using 20 megawatts. If I turn it down to 84%, like so, what it's going to do is, once it kicks in again, it will reduce. There we go. Now it's 15.1 watts. That's 5 watts. 5 times how many ever you got, right? So 5 additional watts times 6 of them times 9 of them. That's a lot. That's a lot of power that could go into something else. So it's really not necessary to have those at full speed. Or what you could do is you could overclock some of them and then you could remove some of them. But in the end, I find that overclocking only works well when you're doing it on an offline production, right? Where you're just, putting a storage, putting the unit that's making the thing, and then a storage on the other end without actually feeding all of the resources into it. Otherwise, you might as well make double of it. You might as well make double, triple, or whatever it is of constructors or whatever, because they're more energy efficient that way. So this is our primary power right now, which is our coal power. And we took up all of our oil power and all of that other stuff, and our rubber generation, our plastic generation, all of that stuff up. And this is kind of set it and forget it now. There's nothing I need to do up here. I shouldn't have to come up here because it should just keep running that power. So how much power do we have right now? Right now, we're about 1,350 megawatts. We're using about 900 at peak, about 1,000 now at peak. Which is good because we want to have all of our stuff running simultaneously, which is what we have right now. We have all of our basics going, and we're kind of doing it in order, which is really fun. They're kind of making everything in order. Look how fast I go. Boom! On the way down, you go faster. Much fun. Much fun. Now you can see I've got a whole bunch of boxes here that I made a big giant mess because I tore everything down over there, and then I brought all the resources back to here. And this is going to need to be sorted at some point. So I am going to make a sorter that will sort all that. Probably not going to do that today because we probably won't have enough time. But I do want to start working on our oil, which is way over on the other side. Way over there. And we actually removed our our transport there, because we're going to actually shift our transport over to this side. And I believe we're going to run it down. Where's our other road? Over here. We're going to run it down this road right here. Let's go look around here. I thought there was something wrong. Yeah, there's something there. I can see there's an opening. Yeah, you know what? We actually still do have some of our stuff there. Maybe we'll still run on the right side. I thought there was another one. Oh, yeah, right there. There's another one right there that we need to just bring a lift up so we know it's there. There we go. These right here are iron, which we'll use later on. But what we want to do is we want to decide what we're doing with the oil. Are we using the oil for power? Or are we using the oil for producing rubber and plastic? What are we using it for? And probably we need all of those things. But this one's actually the closest one to my base. There's more oil on the other side of this mountain that I think I'm just going to use for power. So we might want to go and inspect that, take a look at that first, and then come back and see what we can do. Now, we can also kind of get things queued up and say, okay, what do we want to do? We want to do some oil extractors, right? So say we want to do 3 oil extractors, and then we want to do some refineries. I forget how many oil extractors per refineries. So let's go ahead and make an oil extractor. We're going to need our motors. Let's get back over here. So we could run the oil up and do all of that. Again, I feel like it's less efficient to run the oil all the way over here. It takes more power. It takes more time to run it all the way over here. So I feel like that's probably not the best idea. I feel like the best idea is to actually run the final product over here. So if we were going to make rubber, if we were going to make plastic and all that other stuff, we would make that way back over there and then run the final product over here. Also, we've got some cadmium stuff that we want to make our wire with and all of that. So much to do. So much to do in game. That's why I love this game. It's so incredibly great. Is that you always have so much to do and you're always trying to make it better and make it better every single time. I love that about it. All right, oil extractor, I can't put that down, but I can put my refinery down. And what else do we need for our refinery? We need copper sheets. That seems wild to me because I have tons of it over here. Now, this is kind of my central area. I've revamped the entire thing and moved all of my resources to the central area, so they're very easy to find. As you can see, I've got kind of a little mini area here coming out, a little mini conveyor so I can see what's in each of them. I would love it if it just set it at the top or had some sort of label that set it at the top. That would be awesome. But we'll get to that eventually. So we want to go ahead and make another hyper tube, and I kind of want to make it come all the way down. I guess we could run it on this side and then eventually move it to that side, or maybe just put it right over here. Start it from here and have it go straight down. That doesn't seem too bad. We're going to need more stuff, though. I just want to try to get a refinery down. Nope, need more. I think I put most of my resources down on this when I went to bring all this down here. So let's go ahead and look for some of that. This one's empty, so we'll take that one out. Let's take a bit of this out, too. I know we're going to need that, that's for sure. Probably this. Already got a bunch of that, a little bit of this, definitely that. Alright, so we'll grab it out of here instead of grabbing it out of the thing over there. So we can use some of this up. Get our vehicle back, we'll get this. Alright, let's try that. Well, I just accidentally went in the pipe. Let's come back out. There we go. Watch out when you're jumping right there. Okay, try number 57. Let's go. Refinery. There we go. Okay, so if we wanted to make something, say, plastic, we'll go ahead and you know what else we could do? Is we could make plastic, or we could make rubber, and then make residual plastic. I don't know what the difference is between plastic and residual plastic. I don't know if you can use the same thing or what. Because I have... let's go look at our actual plastic over here. So we have actual plastic over here, which is just plastic. Because what you have is you have the ability to do... this kind of residual leftover stuff from plastic. It's kind of like waste material, and then from that waste material you can make other things, right? So I can go ahead and take the leftover residual or leftover waste material and make petroleum coke, which would allow me to, of course, generate power. That's one thing I can do with it. Another thing I can do with the residual thing is I can make residual plastic or residual rubber. And I have never tried using the residual. I'm not sure what that does because this is kind of our full playthrough of Update 3, which is pretty fun. So we might try that out. We'll fool around with that. But when we do plastic, it's going to produce 2 plastic and it's going to produce heavy oil residue. Or in this case, I look at the throughputs, right? So 20 parts per minute, 20 plastic per minute, and 10 fluid M3 per minute, right? To the third power. And then what we usually do with that fluid is we'll turn it into petroleum coke, or we'll turn it into something like that, which will allow us to actually produce power. So the byproduct of the thing we're producing is producing power. But the problem is you need water. If you don't have any water to go along with the coal plant that you're trying to produce, then you run into trouble, right? Then you run into trouble. So we got to look at that. Now, also another thing we want to try to get to eventually into all the packaging. We're going to set up our trains and all that kind of fun stuff. We're going to get back into doing our aluminum manufacturing and all this stuff that we had set up right here. We had all that set up and all that running, and we had our thing making computers and heavy modular frames and all of that stuff. And of course, we've already done, unlocked all of our space elevators. So we just took the space elevator out because you no longer need it. And so on. And then, of course, I tore it all down. Now, the reason why I tore it all down is because in the later stages, you unlock the higher tier stuff. And as you unlock the higher tier stuff, your original builds will become obsolete. Now, had I already played through Update 3 and I knew what I was going to get later on, then I could, of course, pre-planned it while I was building it. But I do not play creative modes. I play the mode where you start off from nothing and you work your way and you collect your stuff and you do all that. I much prefer doing that kind of stuff than playing, just easy mode and unlocking everything and whatnot. So I like to unlock it as I go. So now we have the ability to do minor level 3, but we don't have the production to make turbo motors, which is the thing that we really need to do. We've also taken out our production for our heavily modular frames and our computers, so we don't have that set up anymore, so we have to reset all that up. But we're setting it up way more efficient than we set it up before. Because what I did before was I was running all the water down and I was running the water over there to see what it was doing. We're trying a whole bunch of stuff, testing a bunch of stuff out, see what we like better. And in this playthrough, I started with just running all of the raw materials over here to the center and then creating whatever I need. And just as I thought I would, I didn't like it. And the reason why is just less efficient. It's less efficient to run 5 lines, 5 conveyors of everything around your thing to run in your raw materials and run your raw stuff from way far away into the center area than it is for me to go over there, build an area that takes your limestone, converts it into concrete, and send the concrete down the line. That's a way more efficient thing is to send the concrete than to send the original thing, and then I have to take it and run along a long conveyor, then do that, then I got to rerun all of that. So I feel like it's much more convenient for me just to send the final thing. In the case of something like screws or something like that, which is a second tier item, right, I can go ahead and run it into the building, which you see right here. I mean, it looks like a giant T, T for Wasteland Tycoons. So I've got the materials coming up. Those materials run into here, right? And then they go ahead and they're redefined or reforged into iron ingots. And then from there, it goes up to the next level where we should use our hypertubes. Now we got the hole. We can put it in the side and you can just come up the hypertube, which is very fun. But then it runs into here. And then, of course, this makes iron rods. And now we don't need iron rods. We got plenty of iron rods. So what we're doing is we're going ahead and we're running it back out the side here. And then that goes up and then it comes back through up here as iron rods, and those iron rods then get turned into screws. Those screws then go out, and they go ahead and manufacture and go out the way. So you can have it where you can have multiple layers of production. And we're also building more vertical than horizontal, which usually early game I do very horizontal builds. And the reason why that is because I know 99% of the time I'm going to tear it down. I'm going to take it out of there anyway. Because I know that in the long run, I'm going to be kind of gearing up my production a lot more. And so let's go ahead and run back out of here. There we go. And so that's why this is producing screws and not producing rods, because I don't need rods right now. When I need rods, then it will produce rods. And when I need rods, I can actually, instead of doing screws, I can just go over to another node and make that one do rods and then send rods in that way. Now, also another thing that I did is, as you can see, these kind of final things are running into our storage boxes here. But up at the top here, when we have excess, because I have a 3 boxes high, when we get to the excess up there, by the way, I'll get to chat here in just a second, everybody. Here in the excess that comes up the top here, right, say we got our metal plates coming in, notice there's no excess here in the top, right? There is 2 boxes down. If we go ahead and go to the side here and go down a couple boxes, to this one, that one's filled, and so is the one down below, because I'm feeding it from the top down. Something I learned in this particular playthrough, a much better idea than feeding it upwards, right? You want to feed it downwards. And the reason why is because the top box, you can feed out all the excess. And then you run the excess down, which I'm doing right there, and running it into the awesome sink. And what that's doing is producing tickets. Also, what it does is it basically goes in and tries to find that balance of, okay, you got enough materials to make stuff, but then also any other materials, it's just going to basically throw in what I call the garbage disposal. That's basically what it is. But it produces me tickets, and those tickets, of course, I can use to buy stuff in the awesome shop, which I really, really like. And you see all of these are doing that, right? You've got this over here. We've got all of our steel items, our steel pipes and beams. We've got our screws, excess screws, plates. And then over here is, what is that? What is that one there? I've forgotten already. Huh. I've forgotten what that middle one is. I think that one is copper. Copper? I think it is. Copper sheets there. Yeah, it's copper sheets. There they go. Yeah, any excess copper sheets or whatnot, it'll go up and run out up there. But of course, I just took a bunch of copper sheets out there, so that's why it's feeding down and not feeding up into there. But once it fills, it will then start to backlog and run it out. And so on. So you get the general idea. Now this one's feeding off to its own awesome sink over there. This one's running into that awesome sink. You have multiple of them all over the place. It's pretty great. Pretty great. Bowman Leggy coming in with the Kismet crying there. Oh, so bad. Do you have many alternative recipes? Isn't residual plastic an alternate recipe? It is not, actually. It is not right now. I don't have that many secondary ones. The only one I have, I think, is steel. From what the heck is that stuff? From steel thingies from steel thingies, if you know what I mean. Let me show you. Hold on. Let me get my constructor out. There we go. Steel thingies from my thingies. Yeah, from steel rods. So we make steel rods, and then it will make steel ingots. There we go. I mean, steel ingots will make steel rods. You know what I mean. So instead of making rods the normal way, right, you can go ahead and make steel ingots and then take those steel ingots and then turn them into steel rods. And it does 48 per minute. So when you have those alternate recipes, of course, you're going to get way more than you normally would, right? So instead of iron rods, you're using steel rods and so on. And right now, what we're doing is we're doing something really fun where we go ahead and organize everything by the way that it is actually in our constructor here. So all of our storage over here is based around that. So you can see that we have all the wire together, just like you would see in the constructor, right? In the constructor also, you would see that you have iron plates, iron rods, copper sheets, so on in a row. And if you look over here, hey, what do you know? It's all in a row, just like it is in the constructor. So we tried that this time. Very fun. Same thing over here. We've got our concrete. We've got our quartz. We've got our silica going there. We've got our iron plates and rods and things and aluminum and so on and so forth. And then back here, of course, we've got our other stuff, our heavy modular frames, our computers, and of course, all of this stuff's going to be filled in with the rest of our production. So we had all of that production obviously going at some point, but we've torn it all down to make it much more efficient and more centralized where I'm at. So that's what we're doing right now. So we want to go ahead and check this out. Maybe we can go over there and just turn it into power. But let's go ahead and actually work on, and by the way, they added sets down here for your quick keys. That is just awesome. I absolutely love it. They did a phenomenal job. There we go. Iron rods. Yep, there you go, Adrian. I don't know what you're trying to say with that emote, but whatever. I see you're rocking the Kismet Wasteland Tycoon emote as well. I like it. All right, so let's go ahead and set up our stackables here. And we're going to go ahead and inset it a little bit. And then we'll put all of our stuff on here. We'll go ahead and bring some power from wherever we got it. Where we got it? Way over there. Got one there. Let's take these back out. We could run our power from over there. Eventually, I want to go ahead and take all this power and make it where there's no power poles at all. I would love it if they did this kind of same thing, like that connector that's right over here. It's actually a wall connector that connects to the wall. It'd be great if you could do that on the bottom of the platform, right? If you could do it through your foundations, that would be awesome. So, Satisfactory, I'm talking to you. All the peeps over there at Coffee Stain, I'm talking to you. All right, so here we go. So what we want to do is eventually we're probably going to use this as a conveyor line as well. So we have to kind of think in conveyor line things. I can run this way further than I can run a conveyor, but we want to kind of think of it in terms of conveyor lines. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is basically how long a conveyor line goes. So we'll go ahead and start with that, and we're just going to throw that across there, and we're going to keep that rocking and rolling. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that worked out perfect. That worked out perfecto. And run that, so on and so forth. And we're just going to run down the line, running our hypertube. Now you might notice that I've got this yellow painted on the ground. One of the things that I've learned in this particular playthrough is to make your roads first. Make yourself a road so you know not to build on that. And I just color it yellow like it's a road. But this says, Kismet, don't build on this road. This is your primary road, and this is how you get back and forth from place to place. If you build on that, then you're going to get screwed later on when you're working on stuff. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. All right, and then we can just connect it to the rest of what we had from before, and I feel like we'll be good. Okay, all right, nice. Now, since we've got that connected, though, that means that we can't go on it. Let's take our coffee off for a second. There we go. We'll put our coffee back on. Why didn't it just go to the empty slot there? All right, let's go. I'm using my super elite vehicle. I love this vehicle. I think it's great. It makes me laugh every time, because look at him just crouched down in there. He's just like totally crouched down in that little thing. It makes me laugh all the time. We got so much resources right here. It's crazy tons of resources just sitting all that. We got tons of resources coming from up there too. That's all of our plastic resources and whatnot. We'll get into that. But one other thing, we forgot to run our power all the way down here too. Let's go back. Let's go back and work on our power. That's what we need to do. And it does look like we need to extend our hypertube again. We probably need to run a hypertube up there too, so we can get up there quickly when we need to. And I can see this is my old way of running it right here. How can I tell? Because it's using this center line support and not my actual stackables support. So probably best to just take this back out. Hold down Control. It's going to allow me to take multiple of that out. So let's go ahead and backtrack back where our stackable was. And then we'll just rerun the whole thing, which I knew I was going to end up doing anyway. But good to go and take a look at it along the way. There we go. Come on out of there. There we go. And then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I just barely. That's going to be right where my road is, but we'll just... Nah, I don't like it. I don't like it, and if I don't like it, I'm just going to short it. Meaning I'm just going to come back a few blocks. It's not going to be super efficient, but it's going to be efficient enough. Efficient enough. All right, there we go. Run that across there. Now, I find in this game... Oh, hello. It's time for something. Oh, it's time for Stream Raiders. Oh, I put that backwards. Yeah, put that backwards? No. Put it down again. There we go. Something going on with that. All right, we're going to start some Stream Raiders. Let's get that going, everybody. I set a timer so I wouldn't forget. And, hey, I didn't forget. Yay. All right, we're going to go ahead and start about and come and join me in the chat, everybody. We're going to go ahead and fire up some Stream Raiders. Very, very fun little side game that we play. Also, waiting on the update of Astroneer. Let's see. It should have came through. I thought it was going to be about 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 1 o'clock Pacific. So let me go in and see if that is dropped onto Steam. Oh, boy. Now it says 7:05 p.m. Let me go ahead and look that up. Hold on. Let me go get my Steam over here. Oh, no! It's got an update. How do you know? Look, right here. All right. There we go. Update. All right. Now, if you want to join me, by the way, for Stream Raiders, you want to join me for Astroneer, we're going to be resetting the server and starting again. Now, if you've never seen Astroneer, I feel like this game does not get enough love. It's one of my favorite games. The gameplay of it is amazing. Let's go ahead and start that. Oops, wrong button. I pressed. I got 3 mouses, by the way, so I'm always pressing the wrong one. All right, we'll let that update in the background. By the way, if you ever want to go out of full screen mode into a windowed mode, you hit Alt and then Return on PC. If you're on Windows 10, Alt, Return, and then it will actually put you in windowed mode. And then you can, hit Escape to go into the menu, and then it'll allow you to go out to other programs and then come back in. So a little tech tip for you as well. That lies. That's lying. It's lying over there. That's going to be 7 o'clock. No, it's ready to go now. All right, I got to log in over here. Let me log in to my buddies over at Nitrado. Now, if you guys are like, Kismet, man, I would love to come play with you, but I prefer to have my own server. Well, guess what? If you like to play 7 Days to Die, Ark, if you like to play Minecraft, whatever it is, and you've got a sucky server host now, or maybe you don't have a server host at all, let me hook you up. Let me give you 10% off on a server. Just follow that link right there. Go and grab it. And you're like, well, Kismet, what do you get? I don't get nothing. I already got a server. I'm good. It's all for you guys. That's why I work so hard here in the stream to hook you guys up. Now, I find in life, not spending money is making money. So that's 10% money that you don't have to spend. So you get 10% off and enjoy your own server. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and check the update status here. I think it's updated. So I'm going to go ahead and basically uninstall and reinstall our server. Let's see. Let's go switch game. I love their panel, by the way. Their panel is just awesome. So, wait a minute. Hold on. I got to stop the server first. So, again, we're going to shift over to Astroneer once I got this set up. We're going to play some Satisfactory first while we're waiting for it to install and go through and all of that. And I actually got to shut down the server. I've got to uninstall it. I've got to do a whole bunch of stuff while we're doing that. But while we're waiting for that to shut down, let's keep going on our factory over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there. And again, this will help you out later when you want to run all the materials from this side way back again, because you'll already have it perfectly spaced for your conveyors to run along. I feel like doing a lot of that pre-work, pre-thought, does help you a lot later on. You're not redoing all of this work, right? And I feel like when you get to the stackables, when you get to the stackable things, that's when I usually tear everything down and redo it all. Like in this case, I'm redoing, because I used to have a hypertube here, but I took it all down because it's much better with the stackables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right over here. And run that over there. How are we looking? Still shutting down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do a lot of counting in my head. You can do 2 of these, by the way. I love this fact. Look at this. I can be on the far side of it. I don't even have to see the front side of it. And it knows that I want to do that. That's why I give this game a 10 plus. I mean, 10 out of 10 plus. That's how fantastic the building. I mean, every other building game should take note on how they do their building. 5, 6. Oh, we got to watch out. We don't shoot ourselves into that other one in case we just want to stop there. But every other game should take note because the building in this game is second to none. It is incredibly well done. When you're putting your frames, or you're putting your foundations down, you're putting walls down, you're putting ramps, whatever it is, or building pipes or whatever, it does a really, really phenomenal job of having all of that working. So let's take all this out. We got to rerun our power too. I should actually get our vehicle. We got to rerun our power over here. We got no power on this side. And we're going to need some power to make some power. And all right, there we go. All right, we're going to tell it to uninstall first. Now, I learned that from last time. I need to make sure I uninstall it. And then reinstall it. I just remembered that. All right. Here we go. Now, I always keep this car on me wherever I go because it always comes in handy later on. All right, so now when it comes to power, though, we're going to go ahead and go every other one on the power. And you're like, Kismet, you got that thing right in the middle of your road. That's because eventually I'm going to take that out. That's only there temporarily. So go every other one, and then that will work out just fine. And that's what I'm going to do here with my power. For some reason, I like it to be right by where they all come together because it just looks awesome, right? It looks perfect. That's like where it should go kind of thing. And then also I like to line it up. Now, I can actually send the wire longer than this. This will go way over here, right? You can go way down here. But I feel like it looks better when it's running up against one of these. So that's why I put it there. You can actually go, a little bit longer. I could put it there if I wanted to, but I think it looks better when it's lined up against one of these. There we go. Very nice. By the way, you can create entirely different power systems. Like I could just do oil and then power all of this stuff on this side with the oil, and then use use coal on that side, and then power everything up with just the coal on that side. I feel like one of the things they need is on-off switches, where you can go ahead and say, okay, this whole side of the factory, I want to turn that off. Why? Because I don't have enough power. I want to turn off all the manufacturing of plates and rods when I'm not using them. Turn that off. And then, okay, this side of the factory, I want to turn that on. Plus, I have a whole separate power grid that is just for transportation, like this, right? So when you're going up and down all your pipes, you obviously don't want that to ever go off. You want to have your power always running so that you can use your transport systems and put those on a separate power line as well. So let's go ahead. Speaking of power lines, let's go ahead and put that over to there. That's going to run that, and then you can see I was using a bit of a wall power line there. But let's go ahead and bring this one back forward again. We'll tie all this power together. There we go. We got an extra here. Now it's going to start up all of my oil, which is actually coming right to there. But let's go over here and take a look at the oil. How are we doing over here? Oh, there we go. There we go. We got it. All right. Reinstalling. All right. Let's do it. Reinstalling some Astroneer over there. Again, if you want to come join me on my Astroneer private server, I've got a mega server. Pretty awesome. So we're going to have some fun over there. Okay, so now this should have power again over here. Now, speaking of power, another thing we can do over here, instead of making a whole bunch of stuff, is we can, instead of making rubber and plastic and all that, we could just literally make power. That's what we could do with all the oil, right? And I kind of feel like this is what I might do on the other side, because it's got a longer way to run all of that stuff. And I could just run a power line that would just bring all the power. And I use all the oil for the power here. And you can see that some of the oil right here that's coming off of this one right here is running up, and it's running into here and producing basically all of this power. And this power will now backchain. Now remember, before we only had 13, I think it was 1350 power. And now when we look, well, now we got 1950 power. So we have a lot more power because we have all of our power things running over here, our fuel generators. And so what it's doing is it's taking the oil and then manufacturing the oil, which all of this should be running over here. It's taking the crude oil and it's basically making fuel. And then also it ends up with some extra polymer resin. And the polymer resin is actually being run into, over here, into our awesome sink to be disposed of. So that should all run to there. What do we got here? There we go. This is fuel is filling up, 2,400 gallons of fuel there, which that fuel is then running into all of these fuel here. So we really need to go in and decide where we want to do our power and where we want to do our other stuff. Now also over here, you can see from down here, this one's coming up and that one's going across and that one's fueling that one. This one's coming from here and that one's fueling the other one, which is helping us run that power. And then on this side, this one's actually coming out of here from this one. You can see we got two pumps down there. And it's coming up. We got another pump up here as well to push it the rest of the way. And it was running all the way over there to do that production that now I don't really want to do. So I really want to take all this pipe out of here and not run all the way over to there. Right? I would rather me set up a production on that side that does all of the work. So it does makes plastic or it makes whatever, and then it uses that excess for whatever else I needed to do, than to run it such a long way. And the reason why is it takes a lot of resources, and it's the most expensive thing that it costs you when you're running stuff a really long distance is your time. It takes a lot of time to run long pipes and to run long conveyors and to run long stuff, when in the end, you'd be better just to build it over there and then be GG, right? BGG. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and take all this piping out now and reutilize all of that resource for something else. And so we're going to run along this like so. Oh, it's funny to hear that noise. Dut, 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 like you're running, right? Walking along the planks. I need to buy myself one of those gravity-defying coffee mugs. I know, huh? It's like magical. Because science. Right? What it does, it puts there's a little button on the side of the cup. So when you're flying in your thing, you hold it down and it makes a little force field over the top of your coffee. See, look, I just added some RP to the game right there. I just added some RP. You're welcome, Coffee Stain. I just added some reasons why your coffee doesn't spill. Puts a little force field there so it doesn't spill out. And then when you come out of it, you let go of the button and bam, you're back. You can drink your coffee. You're good. There we go. Wouldn't that be nice to have that in real life, right? Especially, you get some coffee at, your local fast food place. Try not to spill it on yourself. You get some coffee, you're off to work. By the time you get to work, you got half of it on your shirt, right? Some of you know what I'm talking about. All right, so this one over here, we're still going to use this one for plastic and all that stuff, but we don't need to run it way off into the boonies to do that. We're going to make it over here. So we're going to kind of readjust our production here. And again, we're going to play some Astroneer here in just a bit as well. Check out that new automation once our servers are back up and running. Right now it's resetting itself. And so we're going to add a lot of room here for us to do this. Always good to have a lot of concrete in areas that you're building. I do like to leave, you know, boxes of concrete in the general areas that I build. By the way, you might notice I'm building this really fast. That's because if you aim in just the right spot, you can actually just keep clicking the mouse like 2 or 3 times, sometimes as much as 4 times. Now, you might make a mistake like that. It's okay. Just take it out. Be good. But if I aim this far away right here and I click 1, 2, 3, and then there we go. And then I have to move the mouse. 1, 2, 3, and then move the mouse, and so on. So it goes way faster. Now, of course, it'd be even faster if I could hold down, like, say, Control, and then hold down Control and just go... That would be awesome. That would be really amazing. Because you have the ability with Control, by the way. I'm clicking correctly. You have the ability with Control to actually take out blocks. And another thing I discovered the other day, if you let go of Control, right? See, it highlights other blocks, but you can very much just hit Control, and it will very individually add those blocks. So you can just walk over here and say, you know what, I want that block, and I want this block, and I want that block. And so it'll take out all of those. You don't have to hold down Control the entire time. You can just go ahead and tell it very individual items just by pressing Control every time you want that item. Now, if you say, no, I don't want any of that, you just right-click. It gets you out of there. You're good, and then you can have a little sip of coffee while you're at it. There we go. How are we looking over here? Oh, it's starting up. Starting up the server. All right, awesome. So this is where we're going to build our manufacturing. So we need to get our refineries out. Again, did I really use up all of that? Wow, I really did. Wow, okay. Let's go check our boxes. Speaking of keeping extra resources around. So you'll see I keep extra boxes of resources. And when they're empty, I'll usually take that particular thing out. And the reason why is so I know which ones are empty and which ones are full. It'd be nice if there was some sort of symbol on the side. Or if you rolled over it, it said that, you know, the box is empty, right? Like, I don't know if that's empty. That one's not empty. Oh, we've got computers and heavy modular frames in there. Holy mackerel. But as you can see, I've got some extra resources that I leave around, especially concrete and stuff that you might need, or heavy modular frames or whatever. In this case, steel pipes. And that allows you to not have to run back and forth 5,300 times because, you know, you didn't remember the thing. Okay, so we're going to say plastic. So we need 3 M of crude oil, or 30 per minute. Now, if we go over here and we look at our crude oil that's down here, let's just go ahead and do a little... There we go. Right now, this is producing 120 per minute. So, a pretty nice node, if you think about it. We can go ahead and try to walk our way down. I'm always low health in this game. There is an ability to do that. It's a normal node right there. So, it's producing 120 up there. And we got to use our way back up again over here. So that's 120 being piped up in there. We only need 30 in this case to create plastic. So if we do our math, or make Suri do it. Hey Suri, what's 120 divided by 30?
120 divided by 30 is 4.
Is 4. So that means that we can produce 4 plastic. We can use 4 refineries to produce plastic. So we can go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and put that down. And again, I also have spreadsheets that you can use. I also have a little charting system that I made in a program called Illustrator. I illustrated all of it. I illustrated all of this stuff, so you can just put it in like a little erector set. Like a little, like, you know, remember, some of you know what paper dolls are, where you can just take like different pieces and put them together, or things you might find on the back of a cereal box where you can kind of put things together. That's basically what I did here. And we can do that, but we're not going to do that today. Usually I do that when we're doing more complex builds. So I'll show you not only by the numbers, but I'll also show you visually, because I'm both an artist and also a gamer as well. So I like to see things visually, and I also like to see them logically or mathematically. I feel like it's much better to have both than less mistakes in the long run. It helps you visualize what you're trying to do. All right, so that's plastic. Now, we want to create rubber. That's going to take 30 as well. So we could, in theory, make half rubber and half plastic, which is basically what I'm going to do. So we're going to try to feed it in here. Now, how are we going to get in it? Because we're in an odd number. And you're like, well, Kismet, 4 is not an odd number. Yes, it is. It is if you're playing Satisfactory. Because Satisfactory splits in 2s and 3s, right? So if you're trying to get it into 4, it's not so easy, cut and dry. But there is a way to do it. Of course, you split it in half and in half again. Which is basically what we're going to do. Now, I always find the easiest way to get started, and I love piping for this reason, is that it's both an input and an output. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this out. Let's say right to there is pretty good. And then if I want this to be nicely lined up, I'm going to go ahead and do kind of the same thing on this side. And then I'm going to go ahead and connect these two together. Now, I could just directly connect that one to that one, but what happens is then, of course, I'm blocking my other input. Now, if I look at this and say, okay, do I have any other inputs? Oh, wait a minute. I don't have any other inputs. Guess what? Easy mode, right? So we can just go, no, never mind, never mind. We're just going to take this out and whatnot and say, oh, well, there is no other input. All right, well, let's just take this and connect it to that. Because it's both an input and an output at the same time. So it's unlike conveyors where it has to connect correctly, inputs and outputs, where piping does not have that problem, does not have that limitation. So very easily we can do that. And then we can go in and use our merger here, or junction. We go ahead and put that in there beautifully like that. And thanks for that follow, by the way, Gang Allen. Gang Allen. I butcher everybody's name, by the way. It's part of my charm. All right, so we'll put that in there. And then over here, same thing. Look how easy that is, right? And then what we're going to do is same thing again, right? We're going to go ahead and just combine those together. And then in the middle of here, we'll go ahead and bring our piping in. And that's it. That's all you need right there. So it's going to come in, going to split in half. Then it's going to go and split in half again, split in half again. So now you're going to have 120 broken down into 30, just like that. And basically the splitters and mergers are one thing. This is both a splitter and a merger, which is super cool. Frankly, maybe they should make mergers and splitters the same thing. It dynamically knows, but we'll see if they ever add that. For right now, we're going to do what we got to do. Now, here's one thing that I'm doing right now is I'm bringing this up, right? The more you angle this, the more vertical that's going, the more pumps that you need to make that happen. If I actually want to make this even easier, I would put this down at the bottom level and then make the thing that I want to make and then pipe the conveyors up, because conveyors do not have a lift. It doesn't matter what angle you put the conveyor at. You could put it at a really harsh angle. It's still going to go at its maximum speed. Unlike piping, which will be slowed down or increase speed, by the way, if you do have them down like this, which is what we were doing over here. We're bringing it from the waterfall down, and it was actually increasing speed as it was coming down. And if you do put it in say you had a problem with your water, and say you had another extra water up on the top, and I've tested it in game. If you have extra water there and you need to prime your power, you can go ahead and just run a line, and it will actually gravity feed into your power. And because the water will be running down the pipe into the lower levels, and then it will prime your power, and then you disconnect it, connect it back to your normal power, or your water run, and then turn your power on. Guess what? Boom, and it's going to power now your thing, and it's going to pump the water, and you're good, right? For those of you who are following along with all of that. So it works pretty good, but I'm going to leave it up there for now. I'm probably going to change that. I might even take all of this and then move it down to the bottom so we don't have to pump that all up here. So I might reduce the height of all of this to put it more on the ground level, so we're not wasting so much power to get it up here where we're at, right? So we might do kind of an elevation change. We'll elevate, change down, and then we'll go ahead and put it right basically at the level or just above the level of our extractors. But for now, so we've already got this in place. We'll go ahead and run this right over here. And there we go. That's pretty much it, other than power. We're going to need some power to run all of these as well. And then we also need somewhere for it to go to, right? Because it's going to be pumping out a good amount of rubber. Now, another thing it's going to be pumping out is going to be residual heavy oil. And that heavy oil needs to go somewhere too on this side. Now you can see this is one of the most unique things in the game where it has both a double input and a double output, which is pretty cool. And there's other pieces that have that too, but that's kind of cool, I think. So I can go ahead and have this output, and it's going to output to another refinery. Now, the reason why we're going to run it to another refinery is that refinery is going to take the residue. I saw that on an episode of Cops. There ain't no residue. I don't know what you're talking about, no residue. And then about a week later, and I have a big friend of mine who is big, but he's also a big Star Trek fan. So we happen to have been watching that same episode of Cops at the same time. And then about a week later, he's watching Star Trek The Next Generation, and Picard went, residue. He had some sort of residue, right? Because Q, right, got some sort of human ethics residue. And he said at the same time, and I was like, I forever will remember that now. First, there was some, drugged out guy who got pulled over on the side of the road, and then Captain Picard said it like later on. I'm not a huge Trekkie, by the way. I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars. I love sci-fi. Pretty awesome, but I can't tell you what happened in episode 13 in the background of some guy or whatever. I'm not that into it, but hey, I like it anyway. And like what you like in life. Like what you like. Don't let anybody tell you that you're geeky or you're nerdy or whatever. You know what? Life is too short to have other people telling you what you can like. You like whatever you want. So there. And proudly. Proudly like it. Screw everybody else. If they're not into what you're into, that's okay. They can be into what they're into, but they shouldn't put down whatever you're doing, right? You do what you like to do. All right. So we're going to bring the residual oil in, and then we need to do something with it, right? So we can make petroleum coke over here, which is going to basically be like a coal substitute. And then you can use that to run your coal plants. Or we can go ahead and make other plastic from it, right? Take the residual residual resin. We got to make polymer resin. That's right. We have to make polymer resin to make that residual. Oh, that's where the alternate recipe comes in. I see what you're saying now. Yeah, because you got to make polymer resin. Wait, polymer resin comes from our generating fuel over here. Ooh, we can do something with our polymer resin over here. Why do I got that? Give me back my coffee cup. Yeah, see, this produces polymer resin over here when you're producing fuel. So I could run that polymer resin instead of running it into the awesome sink. I could run that polymer resin back and then use that. I just learned that, everybody, and so did you. See, I love those moments of discovery. That's why I don't go and I don't look up stuff. And I don't look up wikis and watch videos and stuff like that. I like to discover it in the moment. Right there, I just discovered it. I had a discovery moment when I had aha! Okay, I learned something, right? That's my favorite part of games. My favorite part of games is the discovery of new things while you're playing, right? I don't need to know everything or pretend like I know everything. I know a good amount of stuff, but I like not knowing everything because it always gives me something more to learn, always perpetuates my excitement in games. So we can run polymer resin over here, along with some water, which I'm not sure we have even water around here. Too close. Yeah, so we don't have water too close here. We could run some water. We could go look for some water. But not too much water here. And that's why we ran water from one side and we ran the oil over there from before. But I don't really think I want to get into doing water, because then I'd have to run it all the way over here. Now, what I could also do is just run the residual. I could run the residual all the way over there. Residual stuff that comes out of here, the heavy oil residue. And I can run that all the way to the other side and do that. Or I can go ahead and say, you know what? Screw all of that. Just take that and package that packaged heavy residue. And instead of running it as a liquid, I could run it on a conveyor. Now, the great thing about conveyors is, one, they don't have a lift, so you're good, as well as conveyors don't require power. So they'll constantly be running, right? It doesn't require some pump to pump it down the road, which, requires power to have that pumping that fuel or pumping that water or oil or whatever it is long distances. It's actually smarter to go in and package it into something. But I would also need to create empty canisters. And to create empty canisters, again, you see how I'm kind of backing it? You back your way further and further back. To create empty canisters, you're going to need, I believe it's a constructor. Let's go look. Yep, empty canisters. You're going to need some plastic, which is kind of funny, right? Because that's what you're making. You're making plastic. Or in this case, I'm making rubber. But you're making plastic. So 2 of your plastic would go into making containers, right? And it's going to make 4 containers. It's going to make 60 per minute. So you could divert some of your plastic over here to make containers, which would then package the residual, which would allow you to then send it down the line, or I could put it on a train and then have the train take it, right? Whether it was liquid or whether it was heavy oil residue in a barrel like that. And then on the other end, you can unpackage the fuel, right? You can unpackage the fuel and take that fuel container, unpackage it, and then run it out using another one of these. So a lot of cool options that we have to do, and we'll fool around with all of that. But right now, we want to play some Astroneer. So let's go ahead and save where we're at. And let's remind ourselves next time. I got to clean up my mess. That's what I called it last time. To work on plastic and rubber. There we go. Confirm. Now, another thing we can also do is say, you know what? We don't want to do any plastic and rubber here. We just want this one to all be power. And we could do that too. Just make this all power. That's all it's doing. Taking the oil, converting it into power, running all the extra stuff into the awesome sink, and that's all it will do. And that actually is not a bad idea because you need lots of power. Whenever you're building up your stuff, more and more you build it up, the more and more power you're going to need. And now we've got lots of extra power running, and we can go ahead and build out all the rest of the stuff we need to build. And plastic and stuff like this is actually, I don't need this right this moment. I need that later on because I have plenty of it right now. But that's just kind of a bit on how to do power and all of that. And probably most likely I'm going to come in here and take this entire thing down. Take all of this down and then lower this down to a lower level and build it just atop. Now, I don't build on the ground level. And the reason why I don't typically build on the ground level is there's mobs that are bugging you. Though, you know what? We might try to build, that's what we might try to do. Just build a factory at ground level. Yeah, build a factory at ground level and just put walls up to protect against mobs. Hold on, let's do that. I'm gonna save that for next time. Make ground level oil power production. Okay, that should hopefully remind me for next time. We'll see. Hey everybody, Kismet here. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right in the center of the screen. Also check me out live on twitch.tv/Kismet. I'll see you all next time.